What is up 100% Chelsea, and welcome to another edition of the Top 5 Show with me, Nico Leroux. If you want to see more of me, head over to my channel, The Silver Screen News, where you can see me doing all the latest movie reviews from right here in the UK. But you guys are here to talk about Chelsea with me. And the transfer window is about to shut, guys, so I thought I would run down our top 5 best transfers of all time. If you want to see me do a top 5 worst transfers of all time, jump in the comments section below, let me know, happy to do that for you. Before I actually get into it, you've probably heard this from Laws, from Brandon, from Louis, we are doing a special at the moment. We're trying to get to 45,000 subscribers by the end of September. If you guys can help us do that, one of our lucky subscribers will receive a signed official Chelsea shirt. So what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button, subscribe to 100% Chelsea, and become part of the true blue army that is 100% Chelsea. Now for my list, what I've actually wanted to do, because I think putting Lampard and Drogba in there is a complete cop-out. For the simple reason being that most would argue, myself included, that those are our 2 best transfers of all time. I would even go so far as to argue that of all our transfers, and this is why I call them the best, they're the ones who have had the most impact on the club in recent history, and maybe even in all our history. So Lampard and Drogba will not be on this list because it's an obvious choice. Obviously they are the best. So don't think of this list as the top 5 best, because then argue with me because Lampard and Drogba aren't on there. Think of this list as the top 5 best excluding Lampard and Drogba, because obviously it's a given that they should be there. I would actually even like to go so far as to say that maybe this is the top 5 best transfers of players that are sometimes overlooked or underappreciated, because we all talk about the Lampards, the Drogbas, now the N'Golo Kantés, the Eden Hazards. So let's talk about some of our less loved players. Equally loved, I'm sure, but less talked about. So here's my top 5 best Chelsea transfers, excluding the obvious mention. Just before I get into it, what I'd like to do is, I wanted to put Ruud Gullit on here. Honourable mention. We'll call Ruud Gullit an honourable mention, and I do believe he's one of our most important signings ever. And I do believe that signing him showed a huge intent in the club to change direction and start competing for trophies officially. And one of the players on my list actually followed Ruud Gullit shortly after his appointment. I also wanted to put Eidur Johnson in there, who was an amazing young acquisition from Bolton. And I still believe Eidur Johnson, along with Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank, who deserves a mention, formed one of the greatest strike partnerships in recent years. The telekinetic understanding those two had was unreal. Those are honourable mentions, but for now, let's count down the top 5 best Chelsea transfers, excluding Lampard and Drogba. In at number 5, I'm going to put Ashley Cole. Now, not only do I think this is one of our most important players in recent memory, I think this is one of the best bits of business that Chelsea have done in recent times. It was 5 million plus William Gallas going in the opposite direction. Now I know, it obviously stung for a while seeing William Gallas in Arsenal's red colours. But you know what was funny is that a lot of Arsenal fans, and I'm sure a lot of Arsenal players at the time, thought they were getting the better deal here. I'm sure 10 years on that they're singing quite a different tune now. Ashley Cole, one of maybe the best left back that this country has ever produced. Certainly the best left back in recent memory. And I would go so far as to say in the post-Roberto Carlos era that he was probably for a few years on the trot the best left back in the world. And he played for Chelsea. He was part of our most important lineup of players. He was a member of the Champions League winning side. He was a Premier League winner with us. Ashley Cole, some people call him Cashley Cole, wah wah. He really, I believe, made the right choice. Looks like Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain may be following in Ashley Cole's footsteps. The bottom line is, call it Cashley Cole, Ashley Cole, whatever you want. Coming to Chelsea means you are going to win trophies. I'm not having a passive-aggressive dig, I'm just stating a fact. And Ashley Cole really turned it on for us. Well exceeded expectations and well worth every penny of that 5 million plus William Gallas. My number 5, Ashley Cole. My number 4 pick is our great goalkeeper, Petr Cech. Now, I think no one's going to argue with me here when I say he is our greatest keeper ever, and certainly an instrumental figure in our most important era ever, and our most successful era ever. Some of the saves this guy did. My personal favourite, you can go on YouTube this, was the year we lost to Liverpool in the semi-final. Not the It's a return leg at Anfield. The first leg at Stamford Bridge, Milan Baros put a header in, and Cech, from one end to the other, almost Gordon Banks-esque, did a full stretch to tip the ball, which looked like it was goal-bound around the post. He's had a number of amazing saves across his career, of course, but that's one that obviously stays with me. Again, like William Gallas, it does hurt seeing him in an Arsenal shirt, but there is no doubt that for £7 million, we got our best goalkeeper in history. I don't really know if people considered him to be the best keeper in the world at any stage, but he was certainly in the discussion. And Thibaut Courtois, as amazing as he is, has some big shoes to fill. He's doing a fantastic job for the moment, but Petr Cech for £7 million from Rennes, unbelievable service, brilliant goalkeeper, really wore the colours proudly and put in great performances week in, week out. Petr Cech's my number 4. My number 3, of course this guy was going to be in here. It's Gianfranco Zola. For only £4.5 million, we captured him in 1996 from Parma following the acquisition of Ruud Gullit. So that's why I said at the beginning, I do believe Ruud Gullit had a certain magnetism and pulling power. Once he arrived, other top caliber players started arriving. Zola was our best player for a decade. He was voted the greatest player of all time in a Chelsea shirt. He was voted Chelsea Player of the Year, year after year after year. He wasn't just loved by Chelsea fans. This little magician was loved by everyone, even from foreign clubs. You know, they didn't like being on the receiving end of playing against him, but goodness me, when he was not, you know, when other clubs are not on the receiving end, people enjoyed tuning in to watch Zola. Unbelievable little player. One of the best technical abilities I've ever seen in a Chelsea shirt. One of our greatest strikers ever. It's just a shame. You know, imagine this. Imagine Zola 10 years younger in the Abramovich era. He would have been maybe our best striker of all time. I still believe that accolade is deserved by Didier Drogba, but Zola's up there, man. Zola is possibly our most entertaining player ever. I'd go that far. Yeah, Zola, number 3, and our most entertaining player ever. My number 2 is one people don't talk about often enough, and it's Ricardo Carvalho. He came to Chelsea in a 20 million deal after Euro 2004. This was very much a Mourinho buy, and the partnership he formed with John Terry, unbelievable. I do believe that that little holy trinity of Terry, Cech and Carvalho was what made our title-winning defence such a success. You know, Mourinho has always been a believer that if you don't concede, you don't lose. I mean, he's not just him, it's everyone. I mean, obviously if you don't concede, you don't lose. I appreciate that. But that's something that Mourinho vocalises very often. And Carvalho was a cornerstone to Chelsea's success. And, you know, people talk about the greats, the Marcel Desailly's. Again, he could have made the list. The Frank Leboeufs. Obviously, John Terry, who wasn't an acquisition, but who's one of our most important players, if not our most important player ever. But Terry and Carvalho at the heart of defence. Man, that was impactful. Paulo Ferreira at right back, Ashley Cole at left back. That was a serious defensive line. It was military. The way they defended man to man was an impressive sight. People said boring, boring Chelsea. Disagree. Tactical Chelsea. And Ricardo Carvalho, though I believe he stepped out of line once, if I remember it was in 2005 or 6, he had a little fallout with Mourinho, and Mourinho brought him straight back the following month. You know, they sorted their differences out and everything was good in the world of Chelsea. But yeah, Ricardo Carvalho, for simply the relationship he formed with John Terry, which broke countless records, you know, I can't remember off the top of my head, probably should have researched this. You guys can comment below, tell me what an idiot I am, or more productively, you could tell me exactly what I'm missing now, which is the amount of minutes that Chelsea went without conceding a goal. I believe it was like over 1,000 minutes of football. It was something nuts like that. Again, please comment below if you can remember, or you can Google it and pretend that you know, or you may actually know, don't know, but leave the comments below. How long was it that Chelsea went without conceding a goal when we had Carvalho and Terry at the heart of defence? Bottom line is, it was a long fucking time. And that's why Ricardo Carvalho, my number 2. My number 1 Chelsea player is a player that those who are not deep into football and deep into Chelsea and who are just passive watchers, which is fine, not having a go, but those people will say, nah, not sure I agree. The people who are deep into Chelsea will probably agree with me, I would hope. Because my number 1 player, and I do believe along with John Terry and Frank Lampard, so instrumental in forming our spine, Claude Makelele. This was a Claudio Ranieri buy in 2003. Ranieri bought him from Real Madrid for 16.8 million. Imagine what Makelele would fetch now. I mean, what a player. Ranieri rightfully said, you're going to be the battery of the team, and he was. He was there for all of our big moments, for our 2 Premier League wins. He helped us get to the final of the Champions League in 2008. He was instrumental every year when we seemed to keep getting knocked out in bloody semi-final of the Champions League. He was there. He was there when we won our first trophy in 2004 under Mourinho, you know, when we won the League Cup. He was such an important player. Now, people are saying N'Golo Kante is better than him. Time out. N'Golo Kante, if he keeps on the way he is going now, will be better. Because I also think N'Golo Kante has got slightly more creativity. But Makelele, man, what a player. And what a loss from Real Madrid. I'd actually like to bring up here a comment that their president Florentino Perez made. This was because what Makelele did is, on the suggestion of all of his fellow teammates, you know, the Zidans, the Rauls, the Gutis, the Figos, they all said, you know, go and ask for a higher salary, you know, you deserve more. When he did that, very shortly afterwards, Florentino Perez sold him. And this is what Perez had to say. It's not pleasant, and you're going to think, what an idiot for losing out on him. But this is what he had to say. We will not miss Makelele. His technique is average. He lacks the speed and skill to take the ball past opponents, and 90% of his distribution either goes backwards or sideways. He wasn't a header of the ball, and he rarely passed the ball more than 3 meters. Younger players will arrive who will cause Makelele to be forgotten. Well, I'm going to go on the last sentence he said and say, the moment they lost Makelele, all of a sudden Real were less balanced. They were still an all-star team. I mean, you couldn't help but be an all-star team with that Galactico lineup they had. But they missed Makelele. Zidane and Beckham both went on record of saying he is the most important player at Real Madrid and he is going to be missed. And they did miss him, and much to Chelsea's benefit, I believe he was one of the biggest influences in making us the force that we are today. Granted, times changed, Makelele moved on, but making us compete on the biggest stage, we needed a spine. And that spine was Drogba, Lampard, Makelele, Terry and Cech. Take Makelele out, Chelsea was still a great team, but not as great. You cannot replace a player like Makelele. And I was mentioning N'Golo Kante before. Look at the difference he made to Leicester. Look at the difference he's making to Chelsea now. You cannot overestimate what a great central defensive midfielder does. Look how in dire need Arsenal are of one. So my top transfer of all time, excluding Lampard and Drogba, is Claude Makelele. So 100% Chelsea, over to you guys. Who are your favourite transfers ever? I'm not asking who your favourite players are ever. Who are your favourite Chelsea transfers of all time? The players that you think have had the biggest impact on us, the ones who you think have contributed the most to us, and maybe if you want to play it a different way, the ones who you think were potentially the best deals we've ever done. Please leave your thoughts on your comments below. Remember, you can be in with a chance of winning a signed Chelsea shirt if we can get to 45,000 subscribers by the end of September. So please hit that subscribe button, guys. And if you want to see more of me, head over to Silver Screen Dudes right now, where you can see me doing all the latest movie reviews, and you can subscribe there too. Catch me every Tuesday, Thursday and Saturday. And until next time, 100% Chelsea, see ya.